So I'm just going to go ahead and start. And again, my name is Michelle. Please feel free to jump in if you'd like. And it will probably be faster than an hour. I'll probably be done faster than an hour. So dogs were faithful companions, hunters, guardians of property, and treasured pets throughout human history. Guard dogs were usually all allowed and used in all levels of society. However, hunting dogs were left to aristocracy. Lap dogs were sort of considered an accessory in 18th and 19th century Europe, so that's just something to think about. So I just mentioned guard dogs, hunting dogs, and lap dogs, just to kind of put that out there. I'm going to start with our earliest known image of an animal, or a dog specifically, being owned by a person or domesticated. This was found in Siberia, and 12,000 BCE. BC used to be short for before Christ, but now in modern times today we call it BCE, which stands for before Common Era. So 12,000 BCE. This was found recently, and it was carbon dated back to 12,000 BCE. It's the Canaan dogs, and it's interesting. They found that the skeletal remains of these dogs were buried next to their owners. These dogs were not used for food. They know that because their skeletons were intact. And so they know that they were considered like a companion dog. And this is a pictograph, which is like a carving in a stone.
Or petroglyph.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Petroglyph.
Petroglyph. Oh yes, that you're correct. Thank you.
Where is this one from, did you say?
It was found in Siberia, and now it is in Israel.
Okay.
I'm going to jump to 664 BC, it should say BCE. And we're going to jump to ancient Egypt, and these were funerary amulets, often made in the form of a god who had roles in protecting the money and guiding it through the hall of truth where the soul would be judged. So upon death, the pharaoh's soul would leave the body, and a guardian would take the soul, walk the soul, guide the soul to be judged through something called the hall of truth. And these were domesticated dogs. This is a jackal head on a human form, but domesticated dogs were buried with great ceremony in their society. Highly valued dogs were also mummified, and grieving families in ancient Egypt shaved their eyebrows as a sign of grief. They did this with cats too. As you might know, cats were worshipped in their society. Unfortunately though, when the pharaoh died, the animals were often killed. And just recently they found many kittens that had their necks snapped, found in ancient Egypt. I know it's hard to even think of that, but it was really like, I don't want to say a sacrifice, but it was that the animals were so important that they were buried with their master. That's a good word. Thank you. Anubis, which is the jackal-headed figure on the left, oversaw the embalming process and had a significant role in the judgment of the dead when he supervised the weighing of the heart for Osiris. And this on the right is a scene of the embalming where you probably know the brain was removed through the nostrils with a very sharp tool, and then these canisters that were housing the organs, and then the body was drained of the blood and packed with some spices and salt especially, and then wrapped like a mummy. And so you probably know this Anubis figure. Moving to an ancient Greek vase from 560 BCE. This is the earliest evidence that we have of a dog collar being used. And this dates back, as I said, to 560 BCE, and gradually the collar was made out of leather, I should say that, and gradually over time it became studded with bronze or copper. And there was this sense that dogs were these alert geniuses that possessed a certain elevated spirit in that society. This is in Pompeii. This is so funny to me because this is actually the very first beware of the dog sign. And it's a mosaic, and it was in the volcanic ash found in Pompeii. Is dated back to 1st century BCE, and this was a mosaic of an animal that is on a chain, and it says beware of the dog. So the building on the left is actually where it is. It's housed, but you can see there's been some destruction because of time and erosion. The animal doesn't look that fierce though. It's a tiny little dog, but maybe it had an attitude. Probably a Chihuahua, but maybe not because it was in Italy. Okay. Does anyone know who anyone know anything about this story, Romulus and Remus? Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read it word by word here. So on the left, look at these two babies as I'm talking, and it will make a lot more sense. Romulus and Remus were twin brothers. They were abandoned by their parents as babies and put into a basket that was then placed in the river Tiber. The basket with twins were discovered by a female wolf. The wolf nursed the babies for a short time before they were found by a shepherd. When Romulus and Remus became adults, they decided to found a city located where the wolf had originally rescued them. The brothers quarreled over where the site should be, and Remus was killed by his brother Romulus. This left Romulus the sole founder of the new city, and thus he gave his name to it, which became Rome. So throughout Rome, you will see this picture of these two human children nursing on a wolf, and it might not make much sense unless you know that backstory. These are the Asian shishi dogs, and this sometimes, shishi directly translates into stone lion. I don't know which language, I apologize, but the proper word is shishi. And these Asian food dogs, these particular ones date back to 200 BCE, and they are not identical. You can tell their gender by examining what's beneath their paws. The male always holds the ball. The female holds a puppy. The ball represents the entire world, and the puppy represents nature or a nurturing spirit. If it has an open mouth, and the other one has a closed mouth, the open mouth represents the in-out breath or the relaxing meditative sound of Om. And they're guard dogs. They protect their home, protect against evil spirits. This is the dog. These are the animals in the ancient Chinese zodiac. I included this because one of these animals is the dog. There was actually originally a cat in this, what they call the Great Race. But as you can see, the cat is not in the race. I'll tell you just a quick story behind the race. And what I mean by Chinese zodiac, I mean every year there is a new animal that the Chinese celebrate in their new year. And I think this year is the year of the pig, I want to say, right? But each year is a different animal. Well, here's the backstory. There was said to be a voice that all animals heard at the same time. And that voice told these animals that they needed to have a race and swim across this body of water. And the ones that made it across would be forever recognized in the zodiac. And so all these animals scurried to the river's edge and jumped into the water. And if you're interested in this, you can look up. There's so such a long story, but I'm really making the abridged version here. But essentially, the rat decided to cheat and jump over all these animals, and, sorry, it's shaky. The rat jumped over all these animals and cheated and went to the front, followed by, I think it's the horse, and then the tiger. The cat dropped out, and the snake was in the race, and then there is supposed to be a pig. I don't know if I see it, but pigs actually don't swim. Pigs, sadly enough, little side fact, pigs can slice their own neck if they're submerged in water because of their sharp hooves. But I mean, this is just a story. But so they have all these animals, and the order that they came to land is the order of the zodiac. So, although this is not particularly, it's not a picture from art history, I included this because I just wanted to show you how human beings have forever honored animals, specifically dogs. There's two different, these are winter constellations in the northern sky, and they're called Canis Major and Canis Minor, and it's said to resemble a dog following the hunter Orion. It included the brightest star in the night sky, which is Sirius, which is appropriately known as the dog star. And now we jump to some more, traditional paintings that you might expect. This one is Pigment on Vellum, and vellum is actually made from animal skin, and it's sort of a light material that you build up, kind of layer. Pigment, I suppose they meant ground up stone that is used with a binder to create a paint.